Hello and welcome to this video. Today I want to talk about the book that you have to read when you are a software manager, software project manager, software leader, or managing complex projects. Before we talk about the book, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Florian. I've been developing software for now more than 20 years. I've managed large-scale software projects and I'm a software manager responsible for more than 100 engineers distributed globally. If you are interested in software engineering, if you want to learn the art of software engineering and want to become a better software engineer and make the step from programmer to software engineer or software engineering manager, project manager, software leader, then please subscribe to my channel. Okay, now let's talk about the book. The book that I want to talk about is the mythical Man Month that was written by Frederick Brooks. He actually wrote the first edition of this book in the 1970s. But it's still very, very true what he writes in here about. And the key idea of this book is what's behind the so-called mythical Man Month. A Man Month is 1 month of labor, right? 1 month that one given person, be it a woman or a man, can work on a dedicated problem. And what Brooks writes about in his book is that there is a common misconception, namely that a man month, so the work that a person can do in a month, and the work that needs to be done in a project somehow relate with each other in a way that if you have, let's say, 10 months of work, you can do this work with 1 person in 10 months or with 10 persons in 1 month. And that's true for some work and that's true for some problems. So for instance, if you need to dig 10 holes independently, then definitely doing it with 10 people is much faster than doing it with 1 person, 1 hole after the other. But of course, we also know things where this is not working, right? The most common example used, 9 women cannot give birth to a child in 1 month, right? It just takes as long as it takes. And a similar rule applies to software engineering tasks. Now the question is, why is that? Right? Why can't we just apply our principle that we had with the 10 holes? Well, the key thing that is influencing whether or not a task can be speed up by adding more people is the coordination and the partitioning of the work. In our example with the 10 holes, it's quite easy to partition the problem of digging 10 holes. You can partition it by the number of holes. In software engineering, quite often it's not that easy to do this partitioning, and then a lot of coordination efforts are added. So you have to think about your software based on the architecture in ways of how can I partition it. You might be able to partition it in a front end and back end, or you might be able to partition it in different features if they can be separated in the architecture. But still, even if you do that, front end developers need to talk with back end developers. The developers developing different features need to talk to each other. So you always will have coordination efforts that you create by partitioning this system. And what Brooks also writes about in his book, and was later also coined as Brooks' Law, is that adding more manpower to a late project makes it later. And I think that's one of the key insights that you as a software project manager, as a software manager, need to know and need to accept. Sometimes if you staff a project from the beginning with the right amount of people and you build up your coordination structures, you have the possibility to speed up the project. You have the possibility to leverage partitioning, divide and conquer, and use then more people to get the job done faster. But if you are already late in a project, if you already have built up a significant amount of software that a new person that is added to the project needs to understand, needs to find its way into the system, and needs to be coordinated with respect to the tasks that are already done and progressed by the rest of the team, then this might actually slow down all the other developers. Why is that? Because they need to train the new person. They need to explain what they already have done. They are part of the coordination efforts to allow this further partitioning to bring somebody in. So if your project is late, it's important that you consider Brooks' Law, adding more manpower to a late project makes it later, before you add new people to the project. So now the question, of course, is if your project is late and you know that adding more people might slow it down, what are things that you can do? Well, coming back to our whole analogy, you have multiple ways of reacting when you see, well, I'm not able to dig all the 10 holes. You can dig less holes, right? Removing features. Of course, you need to discuss this with the customer. You can reduce the depth of the holes. That would mean that you implement features, but you prioritize content of the features. One thing that you can use there is the so-called Kano model, where you have priority features that you need to have, you have performance needs that are things that making it faster, and then you have sort of nice to have features, and you group sort of your functions of the features or sub features into these 3 categories, and then you implement only the priority and the performance side of things, but not the nice to have features. And of course, there's the option of moving the milestones out, discussing with the customers to delay something so that you can do it the way it was planned to do, but with more time. And then you might also want to look into combinations, right? Adding more people and accepting the delay, right? This is also something that you can do as a software project manager. Brooks also writes about other things. I also liked the chapters about how to set up teams. He has the analogy of a surgery team with the different roles in the OR. So it's definitely a must read if you are a software project manager and if you are managing software engineers. If you have liked this video and you want to see more content like this on software engineering and how to be a better software engineer, how to be a software leader and manage software engineers, then please subscribe to this channel. Of course, if you have liked this video, please leave a thumbs up here and be part of the discussion down below in the comments. Do you have questions? Have you already read the book? Do you recommend other books? Please comment down below, and I see you in the next video.